Well, well, well. What do we have here? It's like I'm fixing to do another live stream. Ain't that some shit? Got my little SEC hat on today. This is my game day weekend hat. It's got every single team on it, as you can see, from side to side here. That's right. Usually I got the cowboy hat on up there. Y'all tell me if it pisses you off that I'm not wearing the cowboy hat tonight. And we'll make it all right for you. See what we got here in the comments section. Already in the house, we got Teresa Moser up in here. Teresa said she a couple of friends herself think maybe I should get into acting. Y'all think I'd be a good actor? I think I'd be a good heel. A villain, maybe. What do y'all think? Anyway, week 2 is upon us now. Got a few big games this week. Not as many as last week, probably, but everybody knows Alabama and Texas, of course. What's going on, Jay, for 2011? He's up in the house as well. Here comes that Christian Fam Channel. Christian Fam Channel has his badge. As I tell everybody once again, those badges are to show that you are a member of the Outlaw Posse. That's right. If you want your badge and you want a periodic shout out every now and then, I'll call it the Four Horsemen shout out. All you got to do is hit that join button and subscribe button. You'll get your badge and you'll be deputized like that Christian Fam Channel. By the way, that's a great channel. Check it out. Good religious content. But got a few topics that I've seen that was pretty interesting. Of course, we got the big Alabama versus Texas game. I live here in Tuscaloosa, so it's already getting pretty hectic around here. You got all these people from Texas just bombarding Tuscaloosa already. I see Texas tags everywhere. We do have a large contingent of Texas students out here at the University of Alabama, but it's getting pretty bad. ESPN Game Day is already here, as well as SEC Nation. I am getting my badge today, says Jay, for 2011. Well, if you get your badge, brother, I'll be more than happy to deputize you, man, and put you in the Outlaw Posse Army. That way you can get your periodic Four Horsemen shout out, as well as also come up with another perk, and that is the deputy input comment of the day. As you know, this past week, actually done that a couple of times. The past podcast, I think it was Hank69 that had the comment of the day with his badge in place. Now, it seems Steve Spurrier was asked about the games this week. And Steve Spurrier in Steve Spurrier fashion, he likes to press buttons because that's what Steve does. Steve was the original, what they call the OG, right? Steve was the original OG in pushing buttons and talking smack. So when he says stuff like this, I have to take it tongue in cheek most of the time because you never know when Steve's just messing with you. Steve Spurrier says that the Colorado versus Nebraska game is a bigger deal than Alabama and Texas. Now, why would Steve say something like that? Well, I'll tell you why. See, Steve and Deion, they're a little bit alike. They both like to talk a lot of smack and press some buttons and rile some people up. Although I will say Steve's not really – Steve, most of the stuff he says, it's not coming off in a bullying overtone such as con time Deion Sanders. But that's the only reason Steve's probably saying that. He's just trying to get some feathers ruffled and get people riled up. And we have BHOETEP, Eagle. I can't pronounce that, brother. He's up here in the house as well. We got 8 people in here so far. Y'all jump out of the comment section here. Hit that like button and it'll push it out to more people. The algorithm will light this thing up for us. Also, you can link this live out if you want to. What do y'all think about Steve Spurrier saying that the Buffalo versus the Colorado Buffaloes versus Nebraska game is a bigger game than Alabama, Texas? You think Steve is trying to get a reaction? Yeah, I think so. We got a few decent games this week. Everybody knows the obvious one about Alabama and Texas. I'd like to get y'all's comments on that. I did a video on that today, but if y'all didn't watch that video, you can drop some comments in here as well. Give me the predictions on that big game this week. Vanderbilt's playing Wake Forest. They're both undefeated. That means that somebody's going to be undefeated after this game. So either Vanderbilt or Wake Forest will be going to week 3 undefeated. Nebraska versus Colorado, of course, that game's at 11 a.m. I hate them 11 a.m. games, by the way. Zach Hamner's in the house. I'm tired of people saying Texas is back. Bama needs to give them a ass beating to shut them up, says Zach Hamner. Zach Hamner also has that outlaw posse badge as well. So the Army got a few representatives of the posse up in here now. So them skittle shitters out there that like to come in and raid my channel a little bit and wet their diapers, you better be checking yourself at the door because the posse's here backing me up. Utah plays Baylor. Now, this would have been a big game, but Baylor, they proceeded to soil the sheets in Waco and lose to their cross-state rival, the Texas State, whatever their nickname is. I think they might be the Bobcats or some shit. I think they're in San Marcos, Texas. They lost to Texas State. And Texas State has another interstate game this week. They play UTSA. Maybe Texas State's the new up-and-coming Texas team. Maybe they meant to say Texas State is back. Texas is on back during preseason, says Jay for 2011. Steve Spurrier's son, Steve Spurrier Jr., is the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach for the Tulsa Golden Hurricanes. I'm sorry. No, just kidding. I don't know how good a coach Steve Spurrier Jr. is, but I haven't heard much from him. I didn't even know he was still in coaching until you told me, Courtney. But Utah should be able to handle Baylor in this game, you would think. But I've seen it where numerous times where a team gets embarrassed and gets upset by a team that they had no business losing to. The next following week, they come back a little pissed off and sort of take it out on that team. In this case, I don't think it's going to happen. I think that Baylor's going to continue to lose because I've always thought that Dave Aranda just had one lucky season. And I think Baylor's going to continue to slide. I think Utah will probably take care of them rather easily, to be honest with you. Ole Miss is playing Tulane in a game between two ranked teams. I wonder when it was last time that you could say Ole Miss and Tulane were ranked this early in the season playing each other. I don't know. Maybe you guys and gals know, but somebody's going to be undefeated after this game, right? Well, because we're still early in the season, but this is a big game for both teams. Ole Miss versus Tulane. I think Tulane really needs this game if they want to stay relevant and maybe get that spoiler tag and get them a BCS Bowl again. Maybe they'll get a rematch with USC. I don't know if Tulane really wants a rematch because Tulane's already proven themselves. And, they're the Cotton Bowl champs, and USC was last place in the Cotton Bowl. So, maybe USC get a rematch with Tulane. They could rectify that shit. What do y'all think? Y'all think USC deserves another shot at Tulane? Poor old USC. You got poor old Mary Caleb Williams over there, man. Old Mary Caleb Williams' fingernails. I wonder what he's going to paint on his fingernails for Stanford. That's right. They're playing Stanford this week. Those skittle shitters. Also, if y'all want to, like I said, jump out of this chat here, smash the like button. It helps push the algorithm. Like the video, share the video. That stuff is free. There's also a donation button down there. If you want to hit that donation button and get your comment pushed to the top where I can read it a lot faster and see it a lot faster, that would help me out. But, yeah, getting back to it here. Texas A&M's playing Miami. What do y'all think about that? Y'all think Texas A&M Miami? Y'all think Texas A&M's going to beat the Hurricanes in back-to-back years? Texas A&M beat Miami last year, but they didn't do nothing with it. Texas A&M might have been the best 5-7 team in the history of college football. They beat the SEC West champions LSU, and they beat the Miami Hurricanes in the same season and still lost 7 games. How's that happen? Corey Baker in the house. He says, "Hook 'em horns. Are you here in Tuscaloosa, Corey?" Because I am. I'm from Tuscaloosa. Born and raised in Tuscaloosa. My mother worked at the university for 37 years, so this university literally clothed and fed me. What's your prediction on the game, Corey? Think Texas is going to pull it off? Think they're going to get their Rocky II moment? I don't know, man. Like I said in my podcast today, this ain't the movies. And you're not always guaranteed redemption just because you played a close game or got unlucky and lost. LSU's a prime example. They should have beat Florida State last year. They missed an extra point to cost them the game. And then this year was supposed to be the year, according to Brian Kelly, Mr. Southern Drawl, Mr. Fake Ass, Mr. Bump and Grind on his players said that they were going to whoop Florida State's ass. That didn't happen. Matter of fact, Florida State beat their ass by 21 points. Probably should have been 28. All I'm saying is Texas, just because you played this close last year, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get your chance in victory lane against Alabama. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, especially since y'all don't have Bijan Robinson taking some of the heat off of Quinn Ewers. I hope Tammy loses 10-7 for recruiting reasons and don't want either university to look good, says that Christian Fam channel. Botep, I don't know how to say your first name, bro. Botep Eagle says 45-10 Alabama. Wow. Man. Corey Baker comes in and says that Texas will rectify the situation and finally get their victory over Alabama this century. I told a lot of people don't realize this, but Texas hasn't played Alabama in Tuscaloosa since 1902. Y'all know how much has taken place since Texas last come to Tuscaloosa? They didn't even have planes back then. You couldn't even fly those horns in, man. They had to get on a bus or a train to come over here and play in Tuscaloosa. They won that game, by the way, 10-0. But 1902? Wow. Y'all do the math. Was it 121 years? Alabama back then didn't even have Bryant-Denny Stadium. From the history books I read, they were playing football games on the quad out there at Bryant-Denny Stadium with makeshift bleachers, and they had a hard sellout of 2,000 people. Yeah, I think Botep Eagle, like you said. How is the Texas band going to sound in the nosebleed section? Are they going to show up? Because the Alabama band, I don't think even showed up because they weren't going to put them in harm's way, because that's sort of dangerous to be toting that kind of equipment in that high of an area. I mean, because the upper deck here at Bryant-Denny Stadium is, when they say upper deck, they mean upper deck. And I'm a little scared of heights, so I don't like it. I don't like it at all, let alone carrying a big-ass tuba up there. Yeah, I understand why Texas – I know why Texas did it. They know that most teams aren't going to bring their band, if that is the case, and that allows them to have more Texas fans in the stadium. They also turn off the air conditioning in the locker rooms, but that didn't affect Alabama because Alabama is Alabama, and Alabama brings their own air conditioning units just in case somebody's up to some foolery, which Texas was. So y'all ain't going to blame the referees when y'all get beat, right? No, we don't do that, Corey. That's more of a Texas thing. I mean, y'all the one that blamed the referees last year. Y'all swore them down that Bryce Young was down in the end zone. And there's pictures, especially on the podcast I did today on the thumbnail. It clearly shows that he was, in fact, not down. He had his hand on the ground and passed the ball before he was down because there was a Texas player between him and the ground. But I got a question for you, Corey. Is your quarterback's going to be able to play more than one quarter? Because I know old Colt McCoy had a suspicious injury when they played Alabama in the 2009 championship game. His daddy went into the locker room and basically told him not to come back out and play, and he could have played. They were just guarding against his NFL career, in my opinion. And, Greg McElroy, who started that game, actually had a broke rib, and he finished the game. So hopefully your quarterback can finish the game this time. That way there won't be any asterisks or any excuse for when we beat y'all. I think we got a better running game than y'all do. I think that's going to be the deciding factor in the end, in my opinion. All trash talk aside, y'all do not have as good a running game this year to take some of the heat off of Quinn Ewers, in my opinion. So I think Alabama will probably win this game. It'll be close until the early part of the fourth quarter, and Alabama will distance themselves, I think, around the 9-minute mark or 8-minute mark with a touchdown to put them up by 2 scores. I think it'll end up 34-23. That Christian Fam channel says that Quinn Ewers didn't look very good last week. Matt Bingham's in the house. Matt, I give you a shout out today's podcast on the Alabama-Texas prediction video. Basically, you asked for the song of the week to come back with a little tie-in to the show, and I did that with the final countdown in Europe. I don't know if y'all have ever heard that song, but it's a great song and get you fired up. Like I said, if y'all want to get your comment pushed to the top so I can read it easily and get it out there more readily, just hit that little dollar sign at the bottom, make a small donation, write your comment out. Make sure you write your comment out, then send it. That way you will get your comment. You'll get your money's worth, so to speak. Got 25 people in the house right now. If y'all don't mind, jump out of here, hit that like button, smash that like button, share button, and if you don't mind, you can also subscribe to this channel if you haven't already and hit that bell as well so you can get notified when I'm up on here running my mouth. Also, you'll see a bunch of people in here with badges. That's the Outlaw Posse badge. You want to be a member of the Outlaw Posse, it's not $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. There's a join button, next subscribe button. You can hit that, and you can get your badge, get deputized, and get your 4 horsemen shout out as well as maybe even be the comment of the day that will get read out on a podcast of my choosing. Neither of us had a running game last year. Y'all had that one long run, and that was it, says Corey Baker. That is true. But this year we got a pretty good running game. We got a pretty good stable running backs, in my opinion. Not to mention Jalen Milroe is a Cam Newton, Johnny Manziel hybrid type quarterback. He's got the speed of Manziel, and he's got the build of Cam Newton. He was the leading rusher last week. He rushed for, I think it was 65 yards on 7 carries. He was the first Alabama player ever to pass for 3 touchdowns and rush for 2 touchdowns in the same game. Stink-ass Cats in the house. Always love saying that name. How did Texas not have a running game with Robinson in the backfield? Says Stink-ass Cat. That's a question to you, Corey Baker, I do believe. Corey, we got a few Texas Longhorn fans that remember this channel, brother. If you don't mind, subscribe to the channel. I've actually done some Texas videos as well. I'm in here today because me and you are adversaries this week, and I'm giving you a little bit of a hard time, but it's all in good fun, brother, I promise you. Who? We have Ford. Where was Robinson? got a little tick for tack going on in the comment section. We already got some hook 'em horns and some boomer centers button heads up in here. All right, and like I said, I was reading some of these games. We also have Virginia Tech versus Purdue. Probably nobody really cares about that game. Once upon a time, Virginia Tech, they were a team to be dealt with, but not so much these days. Purdue got upset by Fresno State. So a lot of teams that got upset last week. Northern Illinois beat Boston College. Not that that's really an upset, but, Boston College is a Power 5, right? Cincinnati plays Pittsburgh. That sounds like an AFC North NFL playoff game or some shit. Cincinnati versus Pittsburgh. That'd be pretty interesting to see if Cincinnati can continue to capitalize on their recent successes that they've had, and they're now joining a Power 5 conference. It'd be interesting to see how Cincinnati capitalizes on that. Is Ohio State, or Ohio Stank, as I like to call them, is going to finally have a in-state school in a Power 5 conference for the first time ever. In the 100-plus years that Ohio State has been a football team, nobody in their state has had a real Power 5 team. Yeah, sure, there's some MAC teams, but we all know what the MAC is. The MAC's there just for fodder. We have Oregon versus Texas Tech. This would have been considered a big game, too, at one time. But Texas Tech, just like Baylor, they sold the sheets, and they lost to Wyoming. So I saw some highlights of that game, man. Wyoming, the Cowboys, man, they have some. I love Wyoming's helmets. I love their football field. You ever seen it? Pretty cool, man. I'd love to go there. I'd love to go to a game in Laramie, Wyoming one year. That'd be a hell of a trek, right? Boomer Sooners all up in here. Let's see what we got here. Another boomer with a Teresa Moser. Hoping the Ducks beat Texas Tech, says Jay for 2011. Like I said, if y'all got something that y'all really want to get read out and make it quite profound and known to everybody, just hit that little $ at the bottom of this video and make a donation to the channel. And your comment will be highlighted and pushed to the top. And I will read it forth like it is college football gospel. Arizona. This is a sneaky good game, I think. Arizona versus Mississippi State. I think this game's actually in Starksville. I don't know how Arizona's going to find Starksville because I know they ain't got no airport. That's a hell of a trek from Jackson to Starksville, I'll tell you. Starksville reminds me of Tuscaloosa back in 1970 or 1980. Tuscaloosa don't have an airport. We had an airport, but it's not for big airplanes, so I can't really say anything. But we are actually closer to the major. I think Birmingham, Tuscaloosa are actually pretty close other than Jackson and Starksville, right? Arizona versus Mississippi State, though, that's a big game for both these teams. Arizona, I think, is still undefeated. Of course, we're still early in the season. Mississippi State won their first game. It's a good tone-setting game for both these programs going forward. If Arizona wins that game, that could help push them on their way to the Big 12 next year. Wisconsin plays Washington State. Wisconsin is ranked at number 19. Washington State, as you know, them and Oregon State are about to be left out of the Power 5 altogether. As the Pac-12, as we saw this past summer, had a meltdown, and it's just a Pac-2 now. So more than likely that conference is going to go away. Washington State, and Oregon State is probably going to join the Mountain West Conference, if you ask me. But this game, you can't really take it lightly because last year Washington State did upset Wisconsin. Another interesting game, I think Auburn actually travels out to Berkeley in California. I better pray for Auburn, man. They're going out there to the left coast. No telling what'll happen, man. Be careful walking the California football stadium, man. A lot of those stadiums are surrounded by feces because the people out there in California, sometimes they, for some odd reason, they don't really like going when they got to the bathroom. They just like to drop the drawers and, take a big old dump right there in the middle of the streets so you can step right in their dung. As I said earlier, here's another interesting game. We have Okie Pokey State versus Arizona State. This would be another game just like Arizona, Mississippi State going forward it could probably really help make this a successful season. Getting a win over another fellow Power 5 team can help you, especially in the bowl situation. Later in the year, it can make the difference in a very crappy bowl and a nice mid-level bowl, right? And we have our first donation of the day. Stink-Ass Cat with a big $10 donation. Stink-Ass Cat says, Colorado is going to lose this week. Hopefully that shuts Sanders up for a week or two. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Nebraska did beat them because while Nebraska did not score a lot of points last week, they didn't give up a lot of points either. I think the game ended up 13-10 with Minnesota winning. So Deion and them will actually see a better defense, hopefully, because we all know, and everybody's up Deion's ass about the TCU game, but I called that couple weeks ago, I said that, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't surprise me if Colorado upset TCU because TCU is overrated. TCU had a lot of lucky breaks last year. And everybody's talking about the last two games, they give up 110 points. But you need to look at the last three games. That game they won against Michigan, they gave up 45 points. So TCU's defense has given up 155 points the last three games. So Stink-Ass Cat has a good point. This might be one of those games that it's going to sneak up on everybody. And when he does lose, there's probably going to be a lot of excuse making. But I'm waiting for it. When it does happen, I'm going to grill his ass. Because Con-Time Deion Sanders is just a fake, man. I'm telling you right now, that one little win over TCU, it might have been the worst thing could happen to him. He might be better off by actually losing that game by a little bit. Now the expectations are really high. And he's going in there rambling on and losing his noodle on the reporters, talking about, I got receipts. Okay, you got receipts, man. What does that mean? They got receipts too, Deion. Are you running your mouth after just one game? Really? One game, man, over a team that gave up 155 points in the last three games. Teresa Moser says, it's Linky Boy and Mary Kay playing this weekend. You know how Tebow and fans get their feelings hurt. If you don't mention them, fire up the grill, Jesse. Boomer. Yeah, I just sort of mentioned them a little bit. Old Mary Caleb Williams' fingernails. I was wondering what the over-under was on the obscenity that he's going to put on his fingernails. I don't know, maybe Jackass. Would Jackass fit? Yeah, it would. You still have one finger left there, right? Put Jack and ass. You could have it on two hands, right? I don't know. Who has zero natties? Okie State will get beat. Whatever. Don't hate Prime. Well, let me tell you something, man. We have to disagree on this because I do hate Prime, and you should too because he hides behind religion, man. He talks all that smack about how he's a man of God and how he's godly and stuff. And there's nothing wrong with professing your belief in God. But when you go out there and present yourself in such a way that you're some real high up Christian, like he does, it really irks me a little bit. Then when you see him in practice, he's dropping GD here and there and that kind of stuff. And another thing, if he wants real respect, he wants people to start respecting him, Christian Fam Channel, he needs to do stuff that's not going to make him look like a caricature. Why would you want to be called Coach Prime? Why not be called Coach Sanders? He bitches and whines about someone calling him Coach, and then he wants to attach a silly label to it. Like I've said numerous times, it sounds like a cartoon character off the Transformers, man. It's like Optimus Prime Coach Jackass or something. Sounds like a cartoon character, man. You can't take him serious. So no, I'm not going to give him any credit. Wasn't a good job. Wasn't a good win. You had a bunch of, like I said, TCU gave 155 points, man. I just can't do it, man. Can't. And I'll be honest with you. Real quick. It don't matter if he beats Nebraska. It don't matter to me, Christian Fam Channel, if he goes undefeated and wins the national championship. I'm still not going to like him, and I'm still going to call him Con-Time because he's a narcissistic, bullying, fake, hide behind religion bully. That's all he is, man. That's all he is to me. That ain't taken away from me. I'm just being honest. You want honesty? I'm being honest. I'm being honest with you. I really hate the way he talks to people and the way he acts. I hate that. Maybe Mary Caleb can get an NIL deal from fingernail polish. That's a good idea. You might want to forward that on to old Linky Boy. You might pass that along to him, man, and they might both be able to get a commercial out of that shit. if Lincoln Riley's willing to paint his fingernails, I mean, he's got a tattoo of blue oyster cult or something on his stomach or something, man. Let's see what we got here. People want to hate 45. I don't hate him either. Who's 45? Oh, I know you're talking about. You're talking about Donald Trump. Donald Trump ain't got nothing to do with this, man. This ain't got nothing to do with Donald Trump. I'm just talking about Deion Sanders, man. He's a jackass, and he's just a bully, man. He's always been a bully and a narcissistic bully. EKL Jars in the house. I want to see if Colorado can keep it going. It seems like they'll eventually fall short this season. Totally agree. I feel like they will fall short too. Haven't got their schedule in front of me. I know they play Nebraska this week. Who does Colorado play after Nebraska? Y'all help me out. Drop it in the comments section. Let me know. Matt Bingham says, OCF, are you going to root for your favorite coach and quarterback Tebow and Caleb Williams? That's funny. I really don't know. I'm going to root against them. I don't like Stanford either, by the way. Bunch of little leak. Stanford and Cal are one of the reasons why the Pac-12 is not existing anymore, because they wouldn't go and expand. They had a chance to put the Big 12 where they're at now, but they listened to Kevin Warren's snaky ass in the Big 10 and didn't expand. Kevin Warren's like, oh, no, don't expand. ACC, come here, ACC. Let's all get together, man. Let's hold hands and have a loosely knit alliance. And we're going to take on that big bad SEC and the Big 12 and show them. Yeah, y'all showed us all right. They went in and took the Pac-12's two best teams market-wise, and then they tried to say, well, we don't have blood on hands. We're not going to take Oregon and Washington. They want to try and make it out like the Big 12 killed the Pac-12. No, y'all absolutely have blood on your hands. Y'all did that. And then y'all took Oregon and Washington after you said you weren't going to do it. Who would you like to see USC play in a bowl game besides OU, says that Christian Fam channel? Well, I think USC would like to have a rematch with Tulane, man. Don't you? What about you, Bear, bro? Let's ask Bear. Come here, Bear. Come here, Bear. I ain't never been nothing but a winner. Yeah, I know, Bear. What do you think, Bear? Is that USC versus who? Yeah, okay. He said he'd like to see USC possibly play Clemson. The battle of the Skittle shitters, man. The battle of the duty diggers and the Skittle shitters. You know, we got Lincoln Riley's little non-offensive coaching brother over at Clemson. He scored 7 points in his last game with TCU, and he scored 7 points in his first game with Clemson. So that'd be the battle of the Skittle shitting brothers, right? Call it the Skittle shit bowl, or the Dabo and the Duty Diggers bowl. If y'all wonder why I call them Dabo and the Duty Diggers, because back in the day, one of them Clemson players, when an Ohio State player was laying on the ground, he put his hand all up in his crack. I mean, he just wandered around there for seemed like for days. I don't know what he was looking for, but I don't know. Oh, yeah. Transgender volleyball tournaments. Yeah. They have so much to do out there, Christian Fam Channel. They got so much to do. That's why they don't support their football team. That's why their stadium doesn't sell out. Don't you know that? That's what they tell everybody. They're like, well, that's all you people in Oklahoma and Alabama got to do. Uh-oh, getting a phone call. Someone trying to call in talk show. Can you believe that? Well, all right, brothers and sisters. Guess I'm going to get up out of here. It's good jumping in here with y'all again today. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Also, you can join the Outlaw Posse, as I said before, for $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. You can get your badge, get deputized. And, as always, KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.